My name is Gloria, and I'm 33 years old. 2 years ago, I married Andy, and we lived together in an apartment. In the beginning, I thought we'd have a happy life together, sharing responsibilities and making it work. But things didn't turn out as I imagined. It wasn't just the differences between me and Andy, it was his mom. It all started in the first month after our wedding. One morning, I was getting ready for work as usual when my mother-in-law showed up unexpectedly. She looked at me and asked, "Where are you going this early?" When I said I was heading to work, her expression changed. She was shocked and said, "You're married now, why are you even thinking about going to work? You're Andy's wife, stay home and do your duties." To make things worse, Andy didn't back me up, he just grabbed his stuff, said, "I'm going to be late for work, bye," and left me to deal with her. I told her politely, I need to get to work too, but she wasn't having it. She started lecturing me, saying, "You're supposed to trust Andy to provide and take care of the house like a proper wife." I managed to leave by handing her a spare key and asking her to lock up when she left. Big mistake. When I came home that evening, she was still there. As soon as I walked in, she yelled at me to sit down. I was so startled I just did as she said. Then she started giving me a long lecture about how a wife should behave, based on her old-fashioned beliefs. Andy came home in the middle of it, and she dragged him into the lecture too. She scolded him, saying, "You're the husband, take control of your wife. If you don't, the family will fall apart." Andy just kept apologizing to her. I couldn't understand why he was acting so spineless. Times have changed, and her values are outdated. She shouldn't be forcing them on us. After she finally left, I confronted Andy. "Why do you always listen to her? She's just trying to make us live her way, and it's not fair." Andy sighed and said, "I'm sorry, but I can't stand up to her. Can't you just do what she says for once?" "No way," I replied. "You know how much my job means to me. Next time she shows up, I won't let her in." Andy panicked and said, "Don't do that. She'll get mad and blame me for not controlling my wife." His response made me even angrier. It's true, isn't it? We're in this situation because you never stand up to your mom. Can't you at least talk to your dad and ask him to get her to stop interfering? I said. Andy sighed, "But Mom doesn't listen to Dad either." "See, your mom is full of contradictions. She says a wife shouldn't do whatever she wants because it ruins the family, but she's the one breaking us apart." Andy didn't like that. "Don't talk badly about my mom," he snapped, glaring at me, a rare thing for him. "If you can stand up to me like this, maybe you should show the same strength with your mother," I shot back. Even though I was frustrated, I reminded myself that I chose Andy, flaws and all, I still loved him, so I decided to try harder to get along with my mother-in-law. To be fair, I'd had bad luck with past boyfriends, they were all bossy and controlling. I thought Andy, being quiet and gentle, would make me happy, but it turned out he was so passive that it sometimes felt like I was on my own. Still, I believed I could change things if I tried hard enough. So, I focused on balancing work and house chores perfectly, yet my mother-in-law kept showing up unannounced, finding something to complain about. "Aren't you neglecting housework because you're working?" she said once. I stayed calm and invited her to look around. "Do you see anything I've missed? Is there a problem with how I've managed the house?" She looked annoyed and said, "Isn't Andy helping you?" Then she glared at Andy. Andy turned pale and shook his head quickly. He never lied to his mother, and she believed him completely. What she didn't know was that Andy actually helped with the housework, because I made him. We had agreed to keep it a secret from her. At first, Andy was clueless about chores, so I had to teach him everything, but he learned, and we made it work. Even so, my mother-in-law wasn't satisfied. As she left that day, she grumbled, "It might look fine now, but I'll get proof this isn't going to last. Just wait." She was relentless. She kept showing up every week, nitpicking the house and lecturing me. "Look at this dusty corner, see? You can't handle housework and a job. Quit your job and focus on the house." This went on for 2 years, and I was exhausted. Her visits were stressful, and she would inspect everything, fridge, closets, you name it. She was driving me crazy. One day, during one of her surprise visits, she was rummaging through the fridge. "What's this? There's barely anything in here. How can you call yourself a wife? Quit your job and take care of Andy properly." Just then, Andy walked in, carrying big shopping bags. Terrible timing. My mother-in-law froze, shocked, and then exploded. "Gloria, how dare you make Andy do housework?" I stayed calm and replied, Actually, this is normal now. Most families don't follow those old-fashioned ideas anymore. Her face turned red, and she yelled, "You're ruining everything with your selfish ways. Disgusting. And Andy, why do you let her do this? Be a man." Andy stayed quiet, pale-faced, as he put the bags down. Honestly, he really is pathetic sometimes. I thought about it carefully, then decided to speak firmly to my mother-in-law. "I've been holding this in for a while, but isn't this disrespectful? Andy and I are equals as husband and wife. We respect each other and share responsibilities. Neither of us carries the entire burden. I plan to keep working even if we have kids, and when that time comes, Andy will help with raising them. We are our own family now, separate from yours, so I'd appreciate it if you didn't interfere too much." My mother-in-law shook her head and said, "I'm done with this house," before leaving. After she left, Andy looked at me nervously and apologized. "I'm sorry I didn't stand up to her." I smiled and reassured him, "You don't need to apologize. I accepted a long time ago that you're not confrontational, and that's okay. Don't worry about your mom, just be yourself. I love you." Andy nodded, tears in his eyes. From that point on, my mother-in-law stopped coming over uninvited, and we didn't have much contact with her. One day, I wasn't feeling well and decided to take a day off work to visit the doctor. After taking a pregnancy test, it turned out positive. At the OBGYN, I found out I was 5 weeks pregnant, with twins. I told Andy the news first, and he was overjoyed. We shared the happy news with our families, and everyone congratulated us. For the first time in a long while, my mother-in-law visited us. To my surprise, she smiled warmly and said, "Congratulations, Gloria. From now on, I'll support you however I can. Please don't hesitate to ask me for help." It was the first time I'd seen her smile like that, and I felt sincere gratitude toward her. As the pregnancy progressed, the morning sickness got worse, and I decided to take maternity leave early. With twins on the way, I planned to return to work a year after giving birth. In the meantime, I did as much housework as I could. Andy, my parents, and even my in-laws pitched in to help. We found out we were having 2 girls. My mother-in-law immediately started buying baby items, even though my due date was still far away. She even got toys meant for 5-year-olds. I didn't think it was necessary yet, but I smiled and thanked her for the thought. She seemed happy. While I was enjoying this peaceful moment, my mother-in-law suddenly said, "Now Andy can finally have a decent family." Her words caught me off guard. "What do you mean by that?" I asked, feeling uneasy. She explained, "I mean, you'll finally be a proper housewife. Andy might have it tough with twins, but he'll be motivated to work even harder at his job. You'll support him and be a good mom to the kids. That's what a decent family is." Her words made me feel disgusted. I sighed, realizing I'd probably have to keep dealing with her mindset forever. With a blank expression, I calmly told her the truth. "I'm going back to work after my maternity leave." "What? You're joking, right?" she asked, visibly shocked. "No, I'm serious. Also, after I go back to work, Andy will quit his job. We've decided he'll be a full-time stay-at-home dad." "Huh? What nonsense are you saying? You're the mother, don't you want to raise your own children?" I replied, "My income is higher than Andy's. It makes sense for me to keep working while he stays home. We both agreed this would be better for the kids." My mother-in-law's face turned red, and she began trembling with anger. "Impossible. This is unacceptable. I didn't raise Andy to live like this. Divorce. I'll make him divorce you," she shouted before storming out of the apartment. Later that day, Andy came home from work looking grim. "Mom was so annoying. She called me at work, saying what we decided is all wrong. I'm worried she might try something crazy. Gloria, why don't you go stay at your parents' house for a while and have the twins there?" It was rare for Andy to suggest something. Even when he proposed to me, he had been so nervous he couldn't even say, "Will you marry me?" I appreciated his thoughtfulness and courage this time. "All right, I'll do that," I said, agreeing to his plan. I told my parents everything and decided to have the babies in my hometown. While I stayed there, I called Andy every day. It reminded me of the days when we were dating and couldn't meet often, so we'd talk on the phone like this. My mother-in-law was still furious and even brought divorce papers to Andy, but he reassured her that he'd never leave me and even suggested a new plan to deal with the situation. Finally, I gave birth to our twin girls. Andy stayed with me at my parents' house to help me recover and adjust. Once things settled, he returned to our apartment to prepare for the next step. One day, I got a call from my mother-in-law. Hello, Gloria. Only Andy came back, and he didn't say anything about you. You're not planning to return here, are you? I'm coming back tomorrow with the babies, I replied. No, don't come back. I don't want to see your face. You and Andy are getting divorced anyway. Why not just stay with your parents? Andy must have gone there to talk about the divorce, right? Her tone was so excited that I couldn't help but chuckle. Don't worry about us, but I don't think Andy wants to see you anymore. What? What do you mean? She asked, sounding confused. I continued, hasn't Andy told you? You and he are no longer in contact. He went back to the apartment to pack. We're moving out tomorrow. Haven't you seen any moving boxes around? No, I haven't seen anything like that. The place looks clean, though. Andy must have worked hard to tidy it up. Then I faintly heard Andy's voice in the background, as if the call was on speaker. His voice became clearer. Sorry, Gloria, I didn't expect Mom to call you. It's fine, I replied. How's the packing going? Almost done. I hid the boxes, because I thought Mom might make a scene if she saw them. Wow, good thinking. Thank you for handling everything. Suddenly, my mother-in-law started yelling, Andy, what are you talking about? Are you really moving and cutting ties with me? Andy calmly but firmly responded, Yes, Mom, I've had enough. You've caused us so much stress with your constant interference. We've decided to cut ties with you. And by the way, when did you make a duplicate key without our permission? Hand it over so I can return it to the management company. Shocked, she stammered, Wait, Andy, you're divorcing Gloria, aren't you? Or, are you cutting ties with me instead? I never said I'm divorcing Gloria. She earns more than me, and if she stopped working, our family would struggle. The girls would suffer too. But that's just temporary, and Gloria's father and brother running a company has nothing to do with her, right? This time, I spoke up. Actually, I work for my brother's company. He's starting another one soon, and I'll be taking over his current company as president. Huh? A woman as president? She asked, stunned. Yes, but for now, I'm focusing on my current role. I'll go back to work after my maternity leave. We've mentioned this before, remember? Yes, Andy added, we told you during our wedding reception, but maybe you forgot. My mother-in-law stayed silent for a long time, unable to respond. Then Andy said, Oh, by the way, Barry works for Gloria's brother's company. If you keep this attitude, what will happen to Barry? Barry is Andy's second brother, and he works as a sales manager at my brother's company. I met Barry at the wedding and learned he was Andy's brother. My mother-in-law's voice trembled when she replied, Oh my God, I didn't know, I swear. Please, don't fire Barry, he's struggling with 3 kids. Please don't do this. I almost laughed. I can't fire someone just because of you, but really, please stop interfering in our family. Well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore, huh? She said, still ranting. Andy then hung up the phone forcefully. The next day, my parents dropped me off at our new house with the twins. The movers had already unpacked everything, and Andy and my parents helped set things up. Soon after, my father-in-law came over. After Andy cut ties with my mother-in-law, my father-in-law decided to follow suit. It turned out that my mother-in-law's imposition of her old values had affected not just Andy, but the entire family. Andy was the quietest and most obedient son, but when he rebelled against her, his brothers and father followed his lead. My father-in-law also left her and is now preparing for divorce with a lawyer. My mother-in-law has now been abandoned by all her family members. Andy quit his job and has been focusing on taking care of the twins. Meanwhile, I continue to work, as it's better for our family financially. No matter what anyone says, I will respect the decisions Andy and I made as a couple. We will continue building our happy family together. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.